Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is where you're from. We are Pink Sock Podcast, and we're doing another edition of Pink Sock Reacts, 3 from Hell. It is a direct sequel of Devil's Rejects. It only takes place, I think, a few years after Devil's Rejects.
I think this came out in 2019, and when the Devil's Rejects came out, 2015?
No. Devil's Rejects came out in 2005, bro. So this takes place about 10 years after the events. Actually, no, 15 years after the events.
Shit, eh?
Now, if you've watched Devil's Rejects, you saw how it ended. Presumably, the Firefly family's gone. They're perished. They're deceased. However, we learned they are not.
Which is please explain moment right there when they got shot like 50 million times, right?
Yeah, they were shot like 20-something times a piece, I believe, is what they said in the movie.
Yeah. But how could you fucking escape, survive from that?
I don't know.
Utter bullshit. That's just
I call bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, it was 10 years because Baby was only in prison for 10 years. They do mention that in the movie. Thank you for joining us, everyone that is joining us. I'm sorry if I'm eating while talking, and I'm also sick. So if you see water coming out of my nose, get grossed out. Anyway.
It's just the filter, guys. It's only a filter.
But 3 from Hell, they somehow survived the shooting. They end up going to court. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much time Otis was given. I think maybe a life sentence. I think they all were.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I didn't know why, Captain Spaulding got it, because, he did fuck all. You know?
As far as we know, he only killed 2 or 3 people.
Oh, yeah.
However, he's more so in there, from my understanding, for the conspiracy of it all. He conspired it all. He's the one that led people there. He basically guilty by association.
Yeah.
Hi, Ronan. But that's why he got life. Now, what didn't make sense to me, now it makes sense by a movie point, and I will explain soon. Captain Spaulding got the lethal injection. The rest of them just was presumably going to rot away in prison. We got one really, really good and really cool Captain Spaulding scene where he's just a clown hanging up to dry for the sins of mankind, kind of like a very much Charles Manson kind of thing.
Yeah.
Each character kind of has their own Manson-esque thing, because so does Otis. Especially in this movie.
I feel like this one was sort of based on that as well.
Yeah.
Very.
What would have happened if Manson actually escaped?
I reckon it'd be very similar to this movie.
Yes. Well, what happens is Captain Spaulding got the electric chair. Or lethal injection, sorry. Got lethal injection. I forget what his final words were, but they were kind of funny.
He said something about a fucking clown or something like that.
His final words was something to do with tell wife and kids I love them or some crazy stupid shit like that. I don't know. I forget what it was.
Yeah, it was something like that, and then he said something afterwards as well.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but that was a cool little scene with Captain Spaulding, and really sad that he had passed. Which leads to my next point. The rest of the movie, as far as my understanding, was written on a whim because Captain Spaulding was supposed to be a main character.
Yeah.
Due to Sid Haig being sick, they had to kill off Captain Spaulding.
Apparently, that wasn't his last appearance in camera.
It wasn't. He was in another horror movie after it. He played an extra, but not a main character, sadly.
What movie was it?
Sid Haig's last actual movie would have been, I forget the name of it. It was not that popular, so I don't really remember the name of it. But give me one quick IMDb search, and I'll have it here in a second. He was in, actually, a few of them. He was in a movie called Hanukkah, where he played a Jewish priest. He also played in Suicide for Beginners as an extra and Abruptio as an extra. Abruptio would be his last movie. It just came out this year.
Okay. Yeah.
But this was the last on-screen major appearance we saw, theatrical appearance of Sid Haig. And then how does the movie play out from here? We end up seeing a scene. Baby is going in to be, what do they call that? Fuck. She's going in for parole. That's what they call it. She goes in for parole.
Yeah.
Gets denied because she's batshit fucking insane. And we get introduced to this security guard who Baby thinks has a lesbian love for her. Then Otis is going to some kind of area to work. You know how like prisoners to work on railroads and all that fun shit. Well, he was sent there and he runs into an old friend.
Danny Trio.
Oh,
yeah. I was surprised to see him in there. I thought I'll probably see DDP as well.
DDP was not, I don't know if he was asked or not to do it, but he couldn't be in it for whatever reason. Probably too busy with the yoga. But Danny Trio's in it, playing Rondo again, which is kind of weird not seeing DDP because them two are very closely intertwined. And the fact is what happened to him. That's never answered either. However, Danny Trio and Otis B. Driftwood is in this vehicle. Baby's still at prison. For some reason, they put these two together. I don't know why in the same prison, and I don't know why they gave them weapons per se. I don't know. But then we were introduced to the Midnight Wolfman, who comes out of nowhere. He's also nicknamed Foxy because all these characters have fucking nicknames. He ends up coming out of nowhere and killing all the guards, and then they kill Rondo. So Rondo's dead.
Yeah.
So no Danny Trio. You can't get any attachment to any characters in movies like this.
They could have brought in Machete.
But it's weird that he was one of the first deaths we saw, other than Captain Spaulding.
Yeah, well, first like proper death scene in the movie, though.
Yeah, first proper death scene.
But before we moved on, I like I actually like the little tribute thing of the Captain Spaulding thing.
They
like
did
back with the old footage from House of a Thousand Corpses to leading up to now. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was really cool. They used behind the scenes footage as well, from my understanding, and I loved that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they also did a dedication to Sid Haig at the very end of the movie too. It was a very touching thing that I enjoyed about the movie because they didn't shy away from that. It was like a tribute to Captain Spaulding, but the fans know it's a tribute to Sid Haig as well. But then we kind of go back to prison with Baby. Now Otis is loose, and so there's the Midnight Wolfman, whom they don't explain where the hell he was in the rest of the movies. They don't really.
Apparently, it was the half brother of Baby and Otis.
Yes, so all of them have different parents. They have the same mom, though, because mom's a prostitute.
That explains it.
That was mentioned, but they don't mention where he was during these events, why he wasn't living in the same house as them, why he's just now close to them.
Like he just randomly rocks up and just saves his siblings. Like, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, somebody who we didn't even know. It's like an old friend that we didn't know, but they know.
Remember me?
It happens. That's how family is. But they end up seeking refuge in a like a hotel kind of thing. At first, well, they were going to. They choose not to. Then they decide after we see that Baby's been in prison for a while, we see her go into a cell with a bunch of really buff women. That was a really interesting scene. It was that guard that Baby's been torturing all this time with, not physically, but mentally torturing her. She ends up
Yeah,
putting
it
her in a
was like
cell.
full on she was full on getting into her brain.
Yeah.
You know, she was just ready to fuck her up.
Yeah. So for revenge, she locks her in this cage with these really buff women who look like killers because they got scars all over their face and shit. So they've seen some stuff. And we see Baby presumably getting the shit beat out of her. But then when the guard comes out, Baby standing there with body parts in her hands and organs and everything else.
I know. Yeah. That's and then like the writing in the blood, I think it says "fuck you, Greta."
It does, because that is the guard's name. It says "fuck you, Greta."
That is very artistic of her.
Yeah, and she said,
I don't know what's more artistic, that or saying Art the Clown write his name in shit art in the wall.
The thing that confused me about that scene, though, is she had just killed those two guards. She was pretty much, not guards, but two prisoners. She was pretty much free, but she still didn't try to attack Greta around that time, and she was peacefully taken back to her cell.
Yeah, I think she was like waiting for the right time for that to happen.
But she peacefully was taken to her cell. Well, not to cell, but to the medics. But I have not seen Terrifier, and I'm not going to watch Terrifier. So you can bring it up all you want.
Oh, man.
But Baby's now getting stitches in her head. We are introduced to the prison guard that's trying to find the suspects that are loose. Who is played by? Do you know who he's played by?
What's that?
Do you know who plays the warden in this movie?
No.
Warden Virgil Dallas Harper, who is the new warden ever since the death of the previous one, is played by Jeff Daniel Phillips.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
He comes into the picture. He's the new kind of cop trying to find these people. Now, what happens next is Otis and the Midnight Wolfman, Foxy, ends up going to the house of the police officer and holding him and his friends hostage. He comes home to that. They hold guns to their heads, and he tells the warden, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to let Baby out the front door, bring her to us, and she'll be free. And I'll let you guys free." Now, the warden originally doesn't agree to it, but he says yes because they're going to die if not. So then we meet a clown played by Clint Howard, which was fun comedy effect. If you can make us laugh, we'll let you go. If not, we'll kill you, kind of ordeal. He wasn't funny at all until he pissed his pants, made Otis laugh.
Yeah, and then get shot in the head.
Yeah, the clown was like, "Do I get to go?" And he's like, "Yeah, to clown heaven." Boom.
That was a cheesy. There's a lot of cheesy lines in this fucking movie. In the last three movies, there's always been cheesy lines, but like this movie, dude.
Yeah. And another side note, a scene that I kind of missed, skimmed over before they went to the warden's house. There is a scene in the woods where these people try to take them in, like they're kind of like being bounty hunters after being told not to. And they
caught them too in the woods. And
well, no, they caught the Midnight Wolfman. Otis snuck up behind and killed her husband.
And then cut the woman's face off.
Yeah, while she was still alive. That was fucked up.
Yeah, that was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit, but like the person was still alive when that happened. Like that was.
What's crazy is the most brutal shit in these movies you don't actually see happen. You see the aftermath.
Yeah.
Like that. And that was really fucked up. It's kind of funny in a morbid way. I'm not saying the act was funny, but Otis was like, they're like, what do you, he's like, "Sharp knife," and she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "You don't want to know." And then it goes to like, her face.
Otis's character in the last three films are great. Like he just has that really good sense of humor, but in a dark, twisted way.
Yeah, he makes it more of a black comedy.
Yeah, yeah. Like if Otis could have his own TV show, I'd watch it.
The weird thing was, though, is Otis in this movie, to me, he was funny in the others, too. He kind of was Otis, and he also filled the void of the comedy that was missing from Captain Spaulding.
Yeah, it was kind of like he was picking up from what Captain Spaulding was doing.
Like father, like stepson or half son or whatever.
You know, whatever. Fucking something. We need to get him on. So Sid, not Sid. So Bill, like, what's the go with this? You know, step siblings and 5 different dads and all this shit. And like,
okay, there is a point in the chat. The movie would have been NC-17 rating if they did show all that skinning scene.
Question: what is NC in your country?
Hell if I know. That's just a rating that I know of that's above R. NC-17 is a higher classification than an R rating. It means no one under 17 years old is admitted to see the movie, so you have to show your ID.
So that's like R rated here.
It's different than here. I don't know about you guys, but rated R for us, our films, people under 17 can see it with a parent and a guardian. NC-17, really? You can't at all.
Really? So, okay, in here, before we go back to the movie, to the thing, see, in here we got M, we start off with G, PG, then M 15 plus, MA 15 plus and over. You got to have like a guardian to watch the movie. And we got R18. You have to be 18 and over to watch the movie.
That's weird. Similar rating systems than us, but different. And then anything above that last rating is just pornography.
What? Triple X? Isn't that a movie with Vin Diesel? No.
Yeah. When I first watched that movie, I was upset he was wearing pants. But let's get back to the movie.
Yeah.
All right, he's holding the family hostage. We have a death of a clown. Two clowns died in this movie, in the making of this movie. Now, the warden goes back to work. He does a bunch of blow. Like a bunch. Freaks out. He ends up telling the woman, I forget her name. Gorak froze. I forget her name. Yeah, you froze for a second, but you're good. Oh. He tells the woman that's obsessed with Baby, that almost tried killing her, to go get Baby. He's got this. Tells her to leave. She's like, no, you should be guarded, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, go. Greta. So Greta leaves. We need to get Sid to say, fuck you, Greta.
Yeah.
Oh, we also forgot to mention, I did anyway, while they were in prison, there was a huge movement to free the 3. Kind of like people with Charles Manson. So there were people obsessed with them in those regards. Why didn't they show up to help them throughout the movie? Like, I think this movie would have been better, Gorak, if they would have included like people that were obsessed with them helping them escape, like an underground railroad kind of thing.
And then like have like a big gang like the man.
Yeah. Kind of like that. Like a big, happy gang of people. But let's get back to the point ahead. Gorak, hold on. Let me refresh you here.
Yeah. It's all right.
There we go.
I'm not what's mine doing that as well.
I'm right next to my router, so I doubt it's on my end, but we're just going to continue on. Now, with them two now, with the warden now getting Baby, Baby ends up getting out of prison with him, but not before getting revenge on Greta, choking her out and killing her. Good for you, Baby. You got your revenge, I guess. But Baby took out Greta, ended up escaping with the warden. They get back to the house, and they're all reunited, which is weird because we've never seen Foxy and her together before this movie, but Baby and Foxy are reunited with Otis. They end up going to a hotel in which they meet this guy. Well, Baby does. Baby leaves to go get something, comes back, goes to the pop machine, meets this guy. He's like, "You look like that girl on TV." I am. Yeah. She kills him. Hi, Jackie. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button, that share button. We truly appreciate you over here at Pink Sock Podcast and Pink Sock Reacts. Now, Baby kills this guy. We don't really see how, but they end up escaping because of that, because they're all over TV. Now they end up seeking refuge in Mexico on the run because cops are after them. The Popo are after them. If they escape to Mexico, the Popo won't find them. So they go to Mexico. We meet this gentleman who kind of looks like Rob Zombie. But we meet this character. He runs this, I want to say it's a hotel, but it's also kind of like a brothel like the last movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like both. We get another prostitute scene, kind of reminiscent of Devil's Rejects, but in Mexico. Then we find out that the hotel owner recognizes the three from hell, and he ends up calling an old friend, new friend, whatever, ends up calling the son of Rondo.
Yes. Yeah.
His name is Aquarius, played by Emilio Rivera, who is also known from Sons of Anarchy and the spinoff Mayans or whatever it's called. I forget the name of the other show. Now, he ends up saying, "Keep them there. I'll show up with 3 coffins." Now, we end up with some cool scenes with like Baby knife throwing and all that stuff. I'll let you watch the movie for yourself to see these really cool scenes. But nothing really reminiscent to the story happens. We just kind of get character development. Baby is, all of them are getting along with this hotel guy. Then, boom, showing up. Rondo's son, Aquarius, with a notorious gang during the Day of the Dead festival, or the day after Day of the Dead festival, I should say. They end up showing up. I forget the name of the infamous gang, but some kind of infamous killer gang that runs Mexico or some shit. They show up, guns a-blazing. They go into rooms and start shooting. They kill the prostitutes in Otis's room, but he's hiding behind a bed. Where we met this dude earlier, kind of. He was smoking with Baby, but he's this little guy. He's a little person. He's a little Mexican that's running around warning the 3 from hell because he's in love with Baby, I guess. I guess that's the thing. Well, these dudes end up kidnapping the Midnight Wolfman and Baby. They don't kill them. They just kidnap them, have them tied to a tree, and they try to get Otis to come out. We did have really cool fucking scenes with Baby with a bow and arrow. She was like shooting all. Yeah, it was really good. She was shooting all the assassins with her bow and arrow and going crazy before she got kidnapped. But they were all tied to a tree. Otis comes out. He ends up challenging. Well, he gets challenged to a sword duel with one of the assassins, big dude. They go at it. Otis gets cut. He cuts the guy back. Otis gets cut again. It looks like Otis is losing. Then our little, as they call him, the lollipop gill. This dude comes out. He cuts them from the tree while the assassins aren't looking. And then we have guns fired. The big assassin gets his inside stabbed by Otis during a gun shootout. And the main dude, who is played who is supposed to be, he's not played by, but is supposed to be Rondo's son from the previous film. He ends up getting taken out kind of by the three from hell. He gets put in one of the caskets that was designed for the three from hell, and he ends up getting burned alive, and they walk into the sunset with a tribute to Captain Spaulding and the other movies playing. Oh, that's awesome. Just the Facts Man has a friend, Billy Blair, who was in the movie and got shot in the throat with an arrow. That is awesome. And Gorak has left me. He has left my side, my true Australian friend. Where did you go? But that's pretty much the Devil's Rejects summed up. Great fucking movie. However, I am going to go through some trivia because there's some great trivia that comes with any movie. There's some great extras, all that fun shit. Like I stated before, this movie was written on the fly due to Sid Haig being ill. So Sid Haig was only in it partially. Now, unfortunately, Sid Haig died 5 days after this film was released theatrically. So that means that the movie was literally being filmed on the fly, like I've stated. This movie was also, you're good, brother. This movie was also part of the promotional for the Rob Zombie Marilyn Manson tour. Now, the song Inagata Davida played at the 1 hour and 28 minute mark. Now, the same song was requested by Bill Moseley's character, Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, the character Carlos Piero, who I did mention looks kind of like Rob Zombie, he's actually wearing one of Rob Zombie's hats in the movie.
The cowboy hat.
Yeah, no, what
cowboy hat.
What I failed to mention was during, like, before the whole shootout and everything, Otis did hold him captive in the car and then shot him to death for ratting him out. I did forget to mention that.
Yeah. That was a cool scene. There's so many cool scenes in that movie.
Yep.
Like, it's hard to pick.
Now, this movie was kind of different than his other movies. Rob Zombie typically shot his movie in film, but due to the price of film being so much, this movie and 31, I believe it was 31, were both filmed normally, like modern time, digitalized and converted to look like film.
Yeah. And
as we did state earlier, you missed it, Gorak. Just the Facts Man actually has a friend, Billy, who was one of the assassins that got shot in the air and neck with an arrow.
Ah, nice. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Now, this was said in the last movie, but it's cool to note again. The main characters, Firefly, Captain Spaulding, and Otis Driftwood, are the same names of characters played by Groucho Marx in the Marx Brothers movies. That is a legit fact.
Oh, okay.
This entire movie was shot in Los Angeles, California. Now, this is really weird. Richard Drake is left-handed like Bill Moseley and Sid Haig.
Nice. Did you know that scene in there where the baby person out of the house into the streets, and she's like stabs her to death in the middle, and there was someone in a out, it's just sunbathing.
Yeah.
So apparently, Rob Zombie had that experience when he was younger.
That's wild.
He saw something happening. Yeah. He mentioned it on Joe Rogan's podcast when Free From Hell was premiering in theaters. He was saying that I think when he was White Zombie, maybe one of his band that he was in, like first band, they were like band practicing in his backyard or whatever, and then he heard like a screaming noise running across the street. It's just like this fat, like old naked guy just covered in blood. So he stole. He kind of got that, for the movie.
Dude, that is fucking intense.
Yeah, that's fucking insane, eh?
Oh, Sid Haig. Well, Captain Spaulding's last words in the movie was "Give my love to my family and friends," which was actually Ted Bundy's last words before execution.
Oh shit, eh?
All right. Go ahead, Dan. Have him email us. Billy Blair has been in a lot of horror movies. So that'd be awesome. He's
I like that.
in a lot of horror
and
movies.
then another scene as well that really got me really fucked up. The scene where the Night Wolf guy, he gets the chick's ashes.
Oh, that's fucked up. That was fucked up, dude. When he had them ashes and was like, I think it was her mom's ashes.
Yeah, how you got the yeah, or something like. It's just not.
That is nuts. Since we're having some lagging issues, Gorak, I don't know if it's your end, my end, whatever, high end, low end. What do you rate this movie? Having some difficulties. Hold on, Gorak. Let me remove you and bring you back. You still there, brother? I'm sorry, guys. We're having some issues. Technical difficulty that happens. Let me try to bring him back on. Still there? All right. Let me rate the movie, and then we'll see what's going on with Gorak. Am I lagging? Because if that's the case, it's something I need to fix. Gorak, are you there, brother? Hello? Can you hear me talking? On your window, can you hear me talking? Can you hear me talking? On your window, oh yeah. It's not me freezing this time. All right, now what do I rate this movie? I will rate it I'll say 8 out of 10. Gorak has officially left. He's going to probably come back. I rated about an 8 out of 10. Out of the 3 movies, this and Devil's Rejects are my 2 favorites. Nothing against House of a Thousand Corpses. Just, this would be my favorite. Not this one in particular, but Devil's Rejects and 3 from Hell are pretty even. I think I rated it like Devil's Rejects 7.5, but close enough to 8. Great movie. This was the first and only one of the 3 that I have seen in theaters. But 8 out of 10. Great soundtrack, great story, great movie, great everything. Now, Midnight Wolfman was confusing. I give it that. But overall, it is what it is. You can only do so much with a missing Sid Haig. Captain Spaulding pretty much made this series what it was, in my opinion. So there is no real way they could have done this better, in my opinion. Absolutely no way it could have been better. And you can't judge Rob Zombie too harshly on the way that he went about doing this series. He had the budget already. He had the movie already. Just was missing Spaulding. And you can't just pull the plug on a movie like that, with that kind of a production, that kind of that kind of everything. So he did his best, his absolute best. So I give him credit. I give him credit where credit is due. Man did a great fucking job. Now let's see what Gorak has to say. He is going to be another minute. He will give his ratings very soon. Sorry again, guys, for all the technical difficulties. The show is continuing on as expected. Now, this movie got a lot of bad reviews online due to the Captain Spaulding thing, due to a lot of things. And I know I rank it kind of high when compared to other people, but it's not a bad movie. Not a bad movie at all, in my honest opinion. Now, should they do other movies moving forward? Should they do other Firefly series movies? I don't think so. This should be the end. Even though they all survived, they ran off into the sunset. I don't think there's anything that could be added to the story that hasn't already been said. Rob Zombie wanted the bad guys to win. That was pretty much his vision. He's always been that way. And I mean, I think it's a very beautiful ending with them all walking into the sunset and enjoying. I don't know. It leaves a lot to the imagination. I'll give you that. It leaves a lot to the imagination. The ending, hold on, Gorak. The ending left a lot there, but I don't think they should make another one. What do you think, Gorak?
I think they should just leave it at that.
Yep. You can't do one without Captain Spaulding in it at all.
No, unless there's like another half brother that comes along.
Yeah, but the thing is they can only keep escaping for so long before it becomes not realistic. They can only, like, how are you going to end it? Them dying again? Like, they've already done that.
Yeah. Well, this is what I liked about Rob Zombie's movies. The bad guys always win.
Yeah, and that's a point that I was mentioning too. What do you rate this movie? I rated it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it around about a 7.5 or 7.8.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Rob Zombie did what he could with what he had.
Yeah, and to change the script, in less than 24 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
And from my understanding, some of the dialogue was just improvised by the actors.
Yeah.
Like,
but
that is nuts.
Do you have a favorite scene, like, from the movie?
Due to me loving Captain Spaulding so much, I really loved his prison scene.
Yeah, I was gonna go with that. But
like it may have been the only scene with him in it, but goddamn, dude, it was powerful. The dude was sick and still let out a powerful scene and was able to beat Captain Spaulding one last time.
Yeah. Yeah, Rob was saying in a podcast, in Eli Roth's History of Horror podcast, he was saying that Sid Haig would be running late to rehearsals, and sometimes he'll forget that he had to be there on the day and all that stuff. And yeah, apparently like he was just like really sick, and he lost lots of weight.
Mm-hmm. And you could tell he lost weight when he did that movie. But
yeah.
Dear God, did he pull that off though?
He did. And then when he had to go back to hospital again, I think Rob Zombie didn't tell was it under Lionsgate?
Yeah, I think it was Lionsgate
or whoever. I think he kind of just made something up and then changed the script and then hand it back to them saying this is the final script now.
It made me sad when I heard about what was going on with Sid, because the dude is, even though he was he was in a lot of movies, but even though he was only in 3 movies that I've seen with him in it, well, he was in Halloween. He played like a graveyard guy.
Yeah. But, he was good in that too.
Even though like he was only in a handful of movies that I've seen of his, the dude is still like a horror icon.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. But that was our review of 3 from Hell. I apologize if I've been kind of I'm not usually my head.
And I apologize for like phrasing and as well.
Well, I'm just been dealing with some kind of I'm down with the sickness. I got the.
You haven't done that yet.
That's what I've been doing. That's how I cough. I go like that.
Could have used that for the song. That song would have been more of a big of a hit if that came in. No.
Right, dude. I don't know what the hell's going on or going around, but I guess a lot of people are getting sick right now. So everybody be careful. It's not COVID. I've been tested. I'm good. But I don't know what it is. It'll be gone by Monday, hopefully, they said.
So they say.
So they say. I mean, I've had doctors tell me that you'll get better in 10 days. And I'm like, it's a fucking month later. I still got a cough. But it's not going to stop me from doing the podcast. Because I've done this podcast with COVID, if you guys remember.
Yes.
Yeah. That sucked. I actually appreciate you taking over around that time, Gorak. You and Naomi.
Yeah, it was fun.
But that was 3 from Hell. Next week, Monday, we're going to be ranking Black Sabbath albums from worst to best. And what movie are we doing, Gorak? I know we mentioned
Scream 6 next.
Scream 6 next. And we may have a special interview for you on Tuesday. Stay tuned. Love y'all. And as always, live long, rock hard.
And stay hard.
Subscribe, mofos.